Hi everyone, thank you for joining me in this video. I know it's been a long time since I posted. There's lots of reasons, but I'm not going to bore you with that. I have got a reading for you, or at least I'm going to do a reading for you. And you will get to pick from 4 cards from this Spellcaster Oracle deck, which will be the theme of your reading, and from there on we will see what the important message is for you. So I am going to draw 4 cards, and you can pick one of them, or 2, or all 4 if you feel like it, and we will see what the messages are from these cards. You only need 1 card, not half the deck. Alright, I've got 4 cards laying down here, and I will show you option number 1, card number 1, card number 2, card number 3, and card number 4, and you can use the timestamps in the description box to go to the reading of your choice, and I'll see you there. Later! Hi there, we are at your reading. You chose this card, it's card number 1, and we will see what the message is. It gives us new beginnings. So, are you about to start something new? Are you about to enter through this gateway into another realm with new vistas, new possibilities? And we can even see both the sun and the moon, as well as the galaxy, in this realm here. So there is much to discover. There is a big lake here. There is beauty abundant. So it seems that there is a new future waiting for you. All you have to do is just enter through this gateway in order to arrive at your destination. Now, I am very curious what the message is that comes with this card, because this is the theme. So if you chose this card, it means that whether you are aware of it or not, you are about to go into a new life phase. Something is going to change for you, and most likely everything is going to change for you. Now we want to know a little more about it so that I can make this reading a bit more specific for you and see what else you need to know about these new beginnings that are coming your way. And let's see which card wants to come out as the final solution or the outcome. There we have it. Now I made an arch reading, which is one of my favorite patterns. It doesn't use too many cards. It keeps the message quite concise and easy to read, and it is not so sparse that it cannot give you an excellent insight in whatever is going on. So let us open up these cards and see what they have to tell you. This is the card for the past, and we see the Weaver of Visions. The Weaver of Visions is akin to the Queen of Cups, and here we see that you are most likely, this is about you, but maybe some of the other cards may give us more context to this card, but it can be about you. You are a sensitive, maybe a little psychic, very empathic, very nurturing. You're an excellent listener, and you really deeply understand what drives humans and what drives their emotions and where they come from, and you have a very nurturing and healing presence about you. And maybe that is what sparks this new beginning, however it comes your way. Now, if we go to the present, there we see the Five of Visions, but in reversed. Now, whenever I get reversed cards, I always turn them upright to begin with the upright meaning. And here you can see the Five of Visions, which is akin to the Five of Cups. We see this woman running after this golden ball who just dropped and rolled into a pond, and she's about to lose it. She's utterly in despair because this golden ball is, of course, very valuable. And here we see this frog watching this entire scenery. And the story goes that comes with this card that this woman doesn't know yet that this frog is actually a prince. Yes, it's a fairy tale deck and I love it. But if we reverse this card, we see a different story. What I see here is something that you thought you lost might return to you. You might find something which you thought was gone forever. And what it is, I think it will be explained in the next card. The Visions card is about cups. So this is a very emotional happening for you. So this is not about finding your lost grocery list. This is about finding something deep inside yourself that you thought you lost. It could be your innocence. It could be your psychic abilities, your intuition, your deep spiritual knowing, something of that sort. I doubt it's going to be something physical, but the next card will explain this more for us. The Ten of Boons. Now, the Ten of Boons is a very physical card. We can see here a family dining on a long dining table with lots of foods available. Everyone is there. Even the dog is lying under the table, catching the scraps that are being thrown for him. The kids are playing, everyone's happy, music is there, from grandfather to the youngest grandchild, everyone is in here. This is a happy family. This is about heritage. This is about family bonds. And also, this can be about material wealth coming with this. But I've always thought of the Ten of Pentacles, which this card is akin to, is much more than just richness and wealth. It's about family. It's about heritage. It's about the family tree. It's about harmony. It's about together creating this hub in which everyone is being catered for. Everyone's needs are being met, from the oldest to the youngest and even the dog. Everyone's needs will be met. There is plenty available and it's going to be distributed evenly according to one's needs. Now, this could mean that you are starting a new chapter in your life. Maybe you will get into a reunion with your family. Maybe there are family members that you haven't spoken to in a very long time, or you lost contact, or maybe you even went no contact yourself for reasons. And now you are in this situation where you thought maybe you've lost this bond and this feeling of belonging into this family, and now all of a sudden it's not as lost as you thought. It seems to be returning into your life, and that may be the beginning of a new chapter for you in this life. Now let's turn over these cards to get more insight in either the goals or the obstacles. And we have 2 cards here, and the one is upright, the other one is reversed, and they're both major arcana. So this is definitely something big in your life, and it's helping you in a way. First, this situation addresses your strength. Now, the strength in a sense, you're not dominating this wolf, but you are facilitating this wolf into coming to you and subjecting itself to you. There is a sense of mutuality between what once was Little Red Riding Hood, because she's sitting on her cape, and the wolf that ate her grandma. Now, we all know how this story went, but this story seems to be different. The grandmother wasn't eaten because Red Riding Hood made friends with the wolf before he could get to her grandma. Now, grandma is also part of this family, so a grandma may be playing a huge part in this reunion with your family. Maybe it is about your grandmother or your grandparents, or in some sense related to them. But instead of running away scared from this wolf or trying to fight it, she just opens herself up for friendship. And then this wolf doesn't look upon her as prey, but as equal. And therefore he will approach her without meaning any harm. And that is how their mutual trust has come, and a friendship came to be. This is a strength of inner peace. This is a strength of knowing who you are and not letting your environment tell you who you are. This wolf cannot tell her she is prey because she knows she's not, and therefore she is not. This is the inner strength that you may have developed over the years that you were in no contact with your family. Maybe you had a very good reason of going no contact because you needed to work on this. You needed to heal yourself from your past. It seems you are a very sensitive person, so maybe some of the things that happened earlier had a bigger impact on you than most people realize because of your sensitivity. Now the other card that is reversed, that is the moonlight card. Now that is the card of the moon. And if I turn this card upright, it tells a story of hares going mad when the full moon arises. They suddenly go out and jump frantically. They really act weird, and I honestly don't know if that is true, but the legend goes that hares in the wild on a full moon, when the moon is out, they might behave very strange and erratically. And that is what this card is depicting. Now, that means that the moon, on the one hand, it lights up the darkness and it gives you a bit more sight than you would have if it wasn't there. But it also has a way of distorting what you see, and I always come back to this comparison. When you're out in the moonlight night in the forest and you see a silhouette, and it could be a dog or it could be a wolf. But that is what you cannot see in the moonlight. Is it a dog or a wolf? Are you in danger or are you being protected? And that is the discernment that the moon cannot give you. And therefore, it may lead to its reversed meaning that there is a bit of deception, and deception seems like a very deliberate act of deceiving someone, or maybe you are not seeing things clearly because you have to go onto your vague feelings of intuition and psychic impressions, and they can give you some outlines. Sometimes they can be very astute, and sometimes they're just really, really vague, and you really don't know what you're looking at. And it's a bit of a confusion that can come with the moon card, not quite knowing what you have in front of you. Is it good? Is it bad? Are you in danger or are you safe? And that is pretty much what this card is hinting at. So maybe you do have this inner strength, but maybe it needs to develop a little bit more. And maybe this reunion with your family could be the test to see how strong you are in your inner being. But trust me, you will feel confused at times, not knowing what you have in front of you, if you can actually trust those people or not. So that is in one, or actually two cards. This is the goal and this is the obstacle. The obstacle is the sense of confusion and having to feel your way through situations that are not apparently clear. And on the other hand, the goal is you addressing your own inner strength. As long as you know who you are, your environment also knows who you are. So if you know you are not prey, then it doesn't really matter in the moonlight if that silhouette is a dog or a wolf, because you have nothing to fear from both. And maybe that is the strength that you will be developing in this new chapter that is coming up for you. Now, if we go to your environment, we see the star, but it is reversed. So, like I always do with reversals, I turn them upright. Excuse me. Now, in this card, you see some elves singing the glory and the majesty of the stars and the great deeds that they did before they became stars. This is about a legend where anyone who is deceased becomes a star in the sky at night, and they sing praise to the deeds of these stars. Now, the star is also about hope, a little point of light in the darkness. It can be a compass and it can be an inspiration for you in a situation where you might feel confused every once in a while and not knowing where you are. You can use the stars to be guided by yourself. But if we have to turn this over, because that is how it came out, maybe the stars are not giving you the right information. Maybe you cannot go at the advice of your environment. Maybe the people who have lived long lives full of challenges and accomplishments, what they can tell you is not as applicable to your situation as you could wish or want for. So maybe all the good intentions from the people in your environment won't be of much help. All you can do is respect their stories and their experiences and take what you can from it. But it's not going to guide you through this. You will not be able to fare on the advice of the people around you. You will have to look inside for that. And you have the tendency already. But if you can stop talking yourself down for being sensitive and start realizing what a gift it can be, obey, you need to use it in the right way. Now we come to the advice card. There we have another strong hint that you cannot really depend on what other people tell you. There may be a liar somewhere in this family. Maybe they are telling stories about you, or maybe they are telling stories to you. But I cannot tell you exactly who it is from this card, but maybe if you look at this image, maybe you know someone who has features that are similar to this person. Maybe they have red hair or this little pointy beard. Maybe the way their face looks, their posture, the way they move. Maybe it's someone who's walking with a cane. That could be hints, but there's no guarantee that this is the physical way this person looks. It could be an entirely different person. But sometimes it works that way. Now, I can go deeper in who this person is, and I will. But you will have to understand that this card is about you knowing who this person is and still going along with it, while you do have the inner strength to free yourself from it. You know it, you have the knowledge, and you know who this is, and you know what the lies are that are being told, and maybe something is keeping you in this, I would say, toxic situation. Maybe you don't have the self-worth yet that is needed to get out of this situation. And there we come back to the goal, which is to develop the inner strength to know who you are and to be able to get out of this situation. I always see this card coming up when it comes to narcissistic relationships. So if you know someone who has narcissistic traits, or you know who is a narcissist, be very careful, because they have ways of manipulating you into I would almost say bondage, where you're selling yourself short and you're taking yourself for less than you are, who you actually are. And if we go to the end result, we see the Three of Spells. And the Three of Spells means that things have been set in motion. Things are on their way, on a roll. And things will unfold themselves from here on out without your control. And it is very uncertain, although you can have some expectations on the basis of what you have put out there, but it is still uncertain what will return from it, what you will get in return. Will you be able to overcome this narcissistic liar type personality in your environment, or can you not tap into your own strength, and will you sell yourself short and keep yourself subordinate to this person? You have set things in motion. Things are going to change. Things are definitely going to shift and change. Now you have made the first steps on your way to this new portal. Now, let me get the archetype cards and see if I can get more information on the personality of this liar type person in your life. It's an advice to free yourself from the bonds that this person has over you. And if the bonds are really as strong as I feel them, you probably already know who this person is, but still I want to see if we can get more insight in their character and see who they actually are. Alright, one more. That's quite a lot of cards. Alright, let's get into these cards. First, we see the Knight. The Knight in shining armor. That's usually how these type of people portray themselves. They portray themselves as being the hero, the knight in shining armor, the person who everyone goes to when they need help or rescue. We also get the cards Gossip and God, which means that we could be dealing with a person who has a very religious persona, but also is a gossipy persona. It can also mean that this is a person who has a God complex, that like the knight in shining armor, they believe they are the savior, everyone should listen to them, they are better than anyone else around, and they will gossip about everyone who they think is not as good as they are. We find the Goddess card. Now this also opens up the possibility that this person is a woman. She is a woman, maybe someone who is very active, very proactive, very determined, and someone who always takes the initiative in any situation because they consider themselves kind of godlike, and they know what's best for everyone involved, so they will be the first to act as in order to get the situation to where they feel it needs to be. And we find the Healer card. Now this person is most likely a woman, and I believe she may be in the healing business. That could mean that she is a nurse or a doctor or a dentist or a chiropractor. She could be someone like a dietist or any physician in any field, anything to do with the business of healing, and that also includes spiritual healing. So this can also be the tarot reader, this could be the medium, the psychic, someone who claims to be in direct contact with God, maybe be the knight of God and executing God's will, and therefore everyone has to do what they want because they are the ones who are in touch with God, and they are chosen to be the healer. That could be the mindset that this person is all about. This person benefits very much from a saint-like appearance, like a god, goddess, knight, healer, very saint-like characteristics, a little too good to be true. And if it weren't for this gossip card, I might even have fell for it, because I might have thought, wow, this is an extraordinary personality, but anyone who doesn't know this person up close and personal might actually feel that and think that, because they only see these exaggerated positive features that this person is constantly flaunting and showing to everyone. And like I said, it may not be anything more than an image, a persona that they created to show to the outside world in order to be able to manipulate people and circumstances to their liking. So I hope that this might give you a lot more information about this person, what they are about, and I think with this information you will be able to pinpoint who this person is. I will also show you the images on these cards once more, because there may be hints there for you that resonate or that remind you of this person. It could be colors, it could be any depictions in this card, including facial expressions or the way their hair are, or anything, the clothes, things like that. They can remind you of what this person is like, maybe the type of art that they like and enjoy, or what their favorite colors are. So I will show them to you so that you can use that information as well to determine who this is about, because it's quite crucial information to know who this is. I find this image very interesting because it supposed to be showing this healer person taking away some headache from this person, but because she is behind her, she cannot see what she's doing. For all we know, this person is inducing headache and sending bad or negative energy this way. That could very well be the case here. So be aware that after a long time of no contact, after having feeling like you've lost your family, you are about to go into a sort of reunion. But be very much aware that you will need to be strong, and you will have to deal with some forms of deception and confusion, and you won't be able to trust anyone or anyone in your environment, because someone is lying, someone is gossiping. They may be gossiping about you, they may be lying about themselves, and therefore creating a very distorted view of reality in the people around you, in this family system. And you will have to be very strong in knowing who you are to not fall prey to these gossips and negative energies that are going around. But as the last card already showed us, things have been set in motion. There's no way you can go back on this. You have set foot into this new realm, into this new world where both the sun and the moon are present. So we see the moon amplified in this reading. Be careful, there may be deception there. But I think forewarned is forearmed. So I hope I was able to give you the information that you need in order to be able to reach this goal of finding your inner strength and not be moved by what other people think of you, or their ill advice, or the gossip that people are spreading about you. You know who you are, and that's all that matters. I wish you the very, very best. Be blessed. Bye. Hi there, you chose this second option, and this is your card. And it is about travel. Now, this is interesting, because where are you going to travel to? And why? And who will you meet? So there's lots of questions to ask about the situation. So let's see what our tarot cards have to say about that. Let me get some cards out for you about this travel that is coming up into your life. It's apparently a big thing. Maybe you've been looking forward to it for a long time. Maybe you've been waiting for it. Maybe you've been anticipating this for a long time. Maybe you are going to visit family, friends, or moving for your work, or maybe you are finally going to take this trip around the world to discover all sorts of new things in your life. Let's find out. The first card that we see is the card that is about your past, and it shows us the child of challenges. In your past, you've had to deal indeed with a lot of challenges. And maybe you've become sharp because of that. And maybe you've become wary because of that. Maybe you've become a little irritable. Maybe your words come out the wrong way and you step on people's toes because of that. You don't mean to. You mean well, but it's kind of like you're either tired or clumsy and things just don't come out very well and are not very well received by other people. And it's kind of wear you down. And I can see how this could be the basis of wanting to escape your current situation. And the way we do that, we usually do that by traveling. Now let's see what the present has to tell us. It is about the Tree of Visions. This is about a reunion. You will be visiting someone, or you will be seeing people, most likely friends, but it can also be siblings or family that you haven't seen for a very long time. And now, finally, you will be able to visit them, to go there and to have fun and enjoy the merriment together, have a drink together, dance together, laugh and cry together even. So there is definitely a reunion and a reconciliation maybe for the past period. But let's see what the underlying circumstances can tell us about this. We find the oldest one, and the oldest one is akin to the high priest. And the high priest is the one that always gives advice and is kind of a connection between the spiritual, the religious aspects of life and the more mundane aspects of life. Usually it results in dogmas on how to live your life, laws that you need to abide to, unwritten laws, or maybe they are written in stone. There are rules to abide by, things you can and cannot do due to religion, or in order to strengthen the bond with the spiritual realm, with God, or however you call it. But this seems reversed, so there's something else going on here. Maybe you feel disconnected. And I will go into this card later on in this reading, because it really puzzles me that this one is coming up. Maybe you are lacking someone's advice, maybe someone who used to be there for you and used to help you with these issues is now absent in some way. Since the card is called the oldest one, it could mean, and that would be not so fun, but it could very well be a possibility that someone old in your family has passed away, and therefore you need to travel to their funeral or cremation, and there that reunion will take place. And even though the occasion is sad, it's also a good thing to see all of your family again. But the oldest one, this refers to that mother tree in every forest. She is the biggest tree in the entire forest, and her root stretches out to almost the edges of the forest, so that she is in contact with each and every tree and sapling that's growing there, and she can inform them about soil quality, weather, about pests, fungi, anything that is important for a tree to know to be able to prosper. She can transmit that information to each and every one. That is why this is a tree person. But it is reversed, so you're lacking information. You may be cut off from this person in some way, and maybe the pandemic situation may have contributed to that as well. Now let's see the goal or obstacle. It may clear up something for us, or maybe not. We see the 7 of spells. This seems to me like an obstacle, but it can also be a goal as well. The 7 of spells, you can see how these dwarves are challenging this young dragon. The dragon was during a flight and it was tired, so it landed near this gnome village, and the gnomes are very distrustful of anything that is not a gnome. So when they see this dragon, they come out and they want to chase it away. They want to make it go away. So they are there yelling at him, poking at him, trying to make this dragon go. But this dragon is a little too tired. But it's still much more powerful than all these gnomes. The dragon needs to assert some sort of self-control as not to incinerate these gnomes, and the dragon does so. It doesn't mean that this dragon is too weak to do so, but this is more about some self-control or knowing that you are actually in the dominant position. So you can see this opposition, you know it's there. But you don't weigh it too often, you don't really see it as a huge threat to who you are, but that can also change. This situation is volatile. It can change any minute. It can turn to the worst, but it can also end quite beneficial. So what is going on here? Has someone been under attack? This raises a lot of questions that I will go into when I draw the next series of cards, because this isn't really adding up for me yet. Maybe the other cards can tell us a little more, because we go to the environment and there we see the 10 of spells, and this is about someone or some person or bunch of persons carrying a heavy load. Something that you should put down in order to continue on your way. The story that we see unfold here is that these 10 sisters were invited to an elven party and they went, but we all know how elven can party. They can party for centuries at an end, and they drink and they eat and they dance and they sing and they play music, and it just doesn't end for centuries. And these sisters were all so enchanted at this party that they went along with it. But then, finally, the day came, the night was totally past, and the day started to begin, and they suddenly felt how tired they actually were, and now, completely disenchanted, they are leaving the party. They may have done things that they regret. Their feet are hurting. Their throats are dry. They are dead tired. But they had a good time, but it was a bit too much. It was too much. And some of them are even crying from exhaustion because of this. Pure exhaustion. Someone has... And this is about the environmental influences. So there's something in your environment that is very exhausting to you, and maybe this is how you feel about that. You know you are the stronger one, but it doesn't mean that you're faced with a challenge. And it's exhausting, it's tiring. And you long probably for a reunion, maybe with someone who could be of help for you. Let's see what the advice is in this circumstance. We see the Ace of Visions. This reminds me of a line of a song from Lenny Kravitz, the song Rosemary, and it has a line in it, and it says, "Nowhere to turn but the inward light." And this is what tells me what's going on. If you lack the the motivation or the inspiration and the advice that you used to get from someone else in your family, most likely, or in your circumstances, who is now absent, you might only have to go inside yourself, look into your heart, see what's going on there. Is there still passion there? Is there still love there? How do you view yourself? Are you just this mundane swan, or are you looking back in your reflection and see you as something bigger, something royal, something... Maybe you are underestimating yourself, and maybe you are growing up and you are setting out your first steps into the wide open world, traveling the world, or going to places where you can no longer rely on the support system that you used to have around you. Now I understand this child of challenges. You may actually still be a young person, or you may be very young at heart. Maybe you are just beginning to explore this world, and maybe you are moving out from your family. And on the one hand, it leaves you free to do whatever you want and meet the friends and drink as much as you like. But at the same time, you are lacking the guidance and support of this oldest one. This could be your mother, it could be your father, or it could be an aunt or a grandfather or mother that was this beacon of support and light and guiding you through the difficulties of life, and now you feel you have to face it all alone. You know you can. You know you're up to it, but it doesn't mean it's not a challenge, and it doesn't mean it's not exhausting. And maybe people are asking more of you than you can actually deliver. And maybe because of that, you feel less than you should feel. Maybe it is a dent into your self-image. Maybe you don't see your regalness that is reflected in this lake. But it's there. This is about knowing your inner strength, but I see that you are still looking to find your footing inside yourself, and therefore the advice is to look into your heart, to look at your emotions. They are your guide. Whenever you have very strong emotions about something, that's a trigger that something is not all right, that something needs healing. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you or that you're less than anyone else. It just means that there's something that you need to look at, that you need to bring out into the conscious realm where you can actually address it and heal it if it needs to be. And the end result is the 8 of spells, and this talks about communication over long distances. It seems to me that you are leaving behind your support system, and now all you have left is communication through the internet, via email, WhatsApp, Facebook, or any of these other social media platforms that you, your friends, and your family use. So this may be an experience. On the one hand, it's a big adventure that you're going into, and it's about joy, merriment, and fun. But at the same time, it requires you to be strong and to rise above your own perceived limitations. You may be stronger than you are, and at the same time, you will find your limits in what you can bear, what you can handle. And that will show you how far you've come and how far you can still go, what you still need to develop and how you need to grow. Let me see what oracle is most suitable to show me something more about this situation. I cannot get around it. This is a reading about travel. So the most suitable deck I could find is this Sacred Traveler Oracle cards. So let me see if these cards can tell us more about what is in this reading and what the message is for you, what this is all about. I love the color of this card backs. They are amazing. Let's see if there's anything else that these cards can clarify. And it seems as if they can. So let's turn them over. I've kind of talked about it. This is about overcoming obstacles. This is about overcoming obstacles. There we go. And challenges, and see where your limits are. So that is actually confirmed. And we have cleansing waters. Now that kind of coincides with this card, which is a water card. It is the Ace of Cups card in traditional decks. So this is, if this traveling is a challenge for you, it will teach you to overcome obstacles, and at the same time, it will clean you off of your own limiting beliefs. Choosing your path. It also tells us that you are in control over the direction that you're going, and we find reaching your destination, which also tells me that you will be able to reach your goals. This is going to be a journey of growth, a journey of self-discovery, a journey of overcoming limitations, a journey of overcoming challenges and obstacles, a journey of learning where your limits are, where your boundaries are, and a journey about learning who you actually are. And maybe you'll learn that your self-image is not quite accurate, that you're selling yourself short, that you are actually more and better than you think you are. If your usual support system is at a distance, you really get thrown back on yourself, which is a challenge in itself. And if you're still even then faced with opposition and challenges, and maybe you will be partying a bit too hard, you might wake up with a hangover or two. It also teaches you about your limitations and about your strengths and your weaknesses. So whether this is a physical journey or maybe this is a symbolic journey where you are leaving your childhood and stepping into adulthood, moving out, starting your first job, or taking a trip around the world, whatever it is, moving out to go to college. There's so many situations that could retain this, but it is about leaving behind the safety of where you are now, moving out into the open world, which is a place of discovery, a lot of fun and merriment, but also a little lack of guidance and maybe a little questionable morality, challenges to overcome, and maybe you find the limits of what you can carry and when you need to put things down in order to be able to continue. It will be a journey of self-discovery, but you will still be in contact with the people that you hold dear, but it will be through the means of the internet. This is a beautiful journey, and whether this is an actual travel or more of a symbolic travel, I do hope you understand that you are at the beginning of a wonderful adventure that will teach you so many things about yourself and the world around you. I wish you the very, very best. Be blessed. Bye. Hi there, you chose option 3 and this is the card that is the theme for your reading and what the rest of the reading will be about. This is about blessings coming to you. This is a beautiful card to get. I'm looking forward to this reading. Now let's see which cards can show us, which deck will show us the blessings that are coming to you. Now I am going to use the Shadowscapes Tarot deck. It's one of my favorite decks, to see if these cards can elaborate for us what blessings will be coming your way anytime in the near future. This reading is timeless, so it doesn't really matter when you watch this. This is about your near future, where and whenever you are. What blessings will be coming? And there we have it. I use an arch reading because it gives me just a good insight in the situation, and it also leaves room for additional cards as well. Now let's go into the past. We see a card of the seed, a card of an abrupt and rigorous ending, something that you might have perceived as betrayal or someone stabbing you in the back, someone or something, or a relationship, or a job, or a friendship, anything that suddenly came to an end, and in a very unpleasant way, in a very bad way, with a lot of bloodshed, with a lot of tears, with a lot of pain, with feelings of hurt and betrayal, and a sudden, possibly even unforeseen ending to something which leaves us scarred for a long time. This is a very sad card, but the good thing about it, it is in the past. So whatever it was that made you feel this way, it is in the past. And now we can go to the present and see what we find there. The Nine of Pentacles. To me, I get the feeling that this card was about a very nasty breakup, where you didn't see it coming and your partner suddenly turned against you and really, really hurt you and did you a number. And now you are all of a sudden on your own. You are on your own and learning to find your own way in life and learning to create your own prosperity. And we can see a figure playing the piano here. And this is very symbolic for playing your own song, making your own music. There is a saying that when you want to have fun in your life, you will have to hang up the decorations. It's a very botched translation from a Dutch saying that we have. But it kind of tells me that you need to create your own prosperity. You need to create your own life with the things that make you happy. And maybe in this relationship, you didn't do that. Maybe this was a relationship of being too dependent on someone, codependency, and maybe this was a relationship with someone who is a bit narcissistic, and this was a narcissistic discard, can very well be, but that also gives you the opportunity to get out and to reinvent yourself, to reinvent your life, to start something new and sing your own song, to create your own music, to start your own new little heaven that is of your own making. If you live alone, you probably recognize it, that your home is kind of your safe place, and you can decorate it and adorn it just the way that you want it to be. You don't have to take into account the wishes of your partner or your children or other family members or people that you're living with. You can just do with your house whatever you feel like. So you can create whatever you are happy with, and that is the opportunity that you have right now in the present. And as the underlying circumstances, we see the Four of Wands, which is a very positive card. It is the card of anticipation of good things coming. It's also sometimes even a card that shows festivities like engagement parties, baby showers or wedding parties, but it can also be about the Thanksgiving for those of you who are in America and celebrate Thanksgiving, because this is also the festivities around harvest. And it's just about the right time of year at the moment of this reading, which is kind of the middle of October, where most harvests are done, and we can celebrate the harvest and enjoy the abundance that is of the harvest. This is also about anticipation more than anything else. The anticipation of a well decked out table with lots of delicious dishes. The anticipation of an abundant harvest, or a happy long-lived marriage, or a beautiful child growing up very successfully. It's the anticipation, but it's also the basis of anything that grows. Anything that grows starts with the anticipation of something good. So you can actually feel that you now have the ability to create the life that you were lacking in this previous situation in the past. So there's this anticipation that you can make life exactly the way you want it to be, the way it will make you happy. Now, if we go to the goal or obstacles, we see the Eight of Swords, and to me this is more of an obstacle. And it is a lasting present that you got from the past. This is the mindset of someone who has been made to feel helpless, someone who doesn't believe in their own ability to resolve difficult situations. This can be that you don't see a way out of a mindset that you inherited from this past that you broke with. Maybe you broke with the past, but the past didn't break up with you yet. It's still inside of you. You are most likely being plagued by feelings of incompetence, confusion, not knowing the way out, not knowing how you can rid yourself of these limitations. But the secret of this card is that these limitations are of your own making. They are thought patterns. Every sword is a negative way of thinking, and it holds you prison. And you won't be able to move and get out of this situation because of that. If you can find help, maybe you need some professional help, but it can also help to talk to someone that you trust, a good friend or a family member, and talk to them about what you believe about yourself, and maybe they can reflect back to you how these beliefs are limiting your potential. And once you become aware of that, you can dismantle this prison of your own making, because this is about negative thought patterns that are keeping you from being happy, from achieving success and feeling good about yourself. So there is also, besides the opportunity of creating a life that you really want the way you want it, you will need to clear these obstacles first. It's a mental thing. The world will reflect back to you what you believe about yourself. So if you have belief systems that make you feel like you are a victim of your circumstances and unable to get out of that situation, that is what the world will reflect back to you. And then you can play the piano whatever you will, but every note you play will sound like it's off tune, and you won't be able to reap the rewards of your hard work. You won't be able to anticipate this wonderful harvest because it didn't grow that well. There may not be an abundant harvest, and that is the uncertainty that you put upon yourself by the way you think about yourself and your life and your interaction with the universe. This is a very important card, and I would seriously advise you, don't be ashamed to ask for help. Everyone needs a mirror that can reflect back to them so that you can see where you're going wrong or what you need to change in order to achieve your goals. Now, if we go to your environment, we see the star. So this tells me that in your environment, you might not even have to look out for a therapist because you have someone in your environment that acts as an inspiration, as a guiding light in the darkness, this little pinpoint in the dead of night that can show you where you're going, like the pole star that's always at the north, in the northern direction, that you know, once you see that star, you know I'm facing north. This person or persons can help and guide you through. They can give you the feedback that you need in order to overcome these limiting beliefs, and you will, if you put your mind to it and you listen to their advice and let yourself be inspired by them. Whenever you feel down, give them a call, send them a text, and see if you can have a conversation that makes you feel better in the end. And if we see the advice here, we see the Hierophant. So this could also mean that you could do well by seeking out a spiritual practice in order to reconnect with the universe, with God, with the great unknown spirit that is all around us. This is also something that really helps and heals wounds from the past that you may be dealing with. So I would say seek out any spiritual practice that resonates within you, that makes you feel safe, that makes you feel guided, that makes you feel like you have a place in the world and in the universe, and that you are in connection with God and the universe. You will be provided for if you can find this place where you belong, and it can be a church, it can be a mosque, it could be a Buddhistic temple or anything. It could be New Age religion, it could even be a tarot. It can help you reconnect, because usually when you are in this type of destructive relationships, you tend to lose not only contact with yourself but also with God and with the universe, with your soul. And your soul is the gateway to God. And if you lose contact with your soul, you lose contact with God and with the universe. And any religious practice that speaks to you can help you to reconnect and find that gateway again and feel whole via your own soul into the universe. You will rediscover your place and your role, and you might even feel how you can contribute and make the world a better place from there on out. The end result shows us the Knight of Wands, and the Knight of Wands is someone who is very temperamental. They have a lot of energy and they have a lot of initiative and they know what they want, they know how to get it, and they are getting it right now with great speed, and they are spurring their horse or mount, because this is not exactly a horse, this is something between a horse and a lion. And they are spurring it to get to the highest speed to get to their goal, because they like to have the initiative, they like to have the control, but they might not always be able to control the energy they put out. Sometimes they lose control of it and things might blow up in their face. They may be too temperamental or get burned out along the way. So when you go into things, you tend to go into things wholeheartedly, fast, and with a lot of energy and initiative. But be warned that might spur things out of control for you, and it might be the reason that you can feel burned out quite, quite quickly after you made your first steps. But it does show me that you are taking back control over your life. And if you can control this very fiery and feisty Mount, you have control over your life and you are a lot stronger than you think, and people might look at you as some form of a leader. You can be someone who helps others, who leads others through the fray because of your own experiences. Let me see which oracle I can use to give us a little more in-depth information about what we just saw in this reading. I feel called to use the Enchanted Map Oracle deck. So let's see what cards are coming out of there that can give us some more additional information, insights and help for you regarding this reading. All right. Let's see the first card, the Storm Fields. This is so much in line with this first card of your reading that shows us a devastating ending of something. And whenever you experience something like this, it creates an internal storm. It creates a mental storm. It creates a neurological storm. It creates an energetic storm where everything gets shuffled and riled up, and everything is blown all over the place, and there is no safe place for you to find. All you can do is hide wherever you can, or see if you can stay out of the path of this nasty tornado so that you are not being blown to bits. This means that there is a lot of emotions and a lot of chaotic thought patterns that are hindering you right now, and that also is very much in line with what this card shows us. It's a bit of a different depiction, but if you cannot calm down your thoughts and your emotions, you will never be able to see and think clearly enough to see the solution, to see the way out. So you need to ride the storm out and have it settling. And when the dust settles, you might just arrive at a golden palace. You might just find that this situation that you were taught was the end of the world is the best thing that could have ever happened to you, because now, like these two cards already told us, you will be able to create your own heaven on earth, your own golden palace with your own hands, not dependent of anyone else but your own. And that is such a fulfilling and such a strengthening feeling and idea that will give you the feeling that you're back on top of the world. Sometimes our biggest blessings are disguised as terrible situations, and we see listening. This goes two ways. This goes the way of you listening to the people in your environment and their advice and their guidance that they have to offer to you. But it also means that you might need to find someone who can listen to you and put your own thoughts and feelings back into perspective. And I believe that this religious tradition can really help you with that. You don't even need to find a therapist. If you can find a good religious practice, that can also help you with that, because in the end, religion is all about making sense of the world and the things that are happening in it. It just has a different vantage point, I think, than a therapist. And we get the Wizard of Awareness now. This is a beautiful card because this shows us that once you are able to overcome the self-imposed limitations that are a result from this storm and this dramatic situation that was in your past, you become aware of that, and suddenly you will find more direction and inspiration in your life. You will even be able to help others with your insights and be a leader of some sort in your own life or to others. But it all starts with awareness. And why is this a wizard of awareness? Well, that is because when you look at things, they tend to transform. When you look at things that are inside yourself, that alone is enough to transform them. So if you look at your self-imposing thoughts, self-imposed limiting thoughts, just look at them and become aware that they are there and how they got there. Then you know whether they hold any validity or not. And once you have established that they don't hold any validity, all of a sudden these thoughts, these limiting beliefs will dissipate. And every time if they do even pop up in your mind or in your life, you can say, hey, wait a minute, I know you, I know you're an illusion. You're not the truth. You're not real. You're not actually blocking me. I can just go on and walk right through you because you're nothing but a mist. That could be what you can say after all this to your own limiting self-belief, that you know it's an illusion, it's not the truth. And it had, of course, an origin, possibly in your past, in previous relationships, or maybe even your childhood. But once you dismantle them as being fake, as being lies, as illusions, not true, not holding any validity in this world, in this time, in this situation, in who you are right now, you know that you are back on the horse, you're back in power, and you are in control of your life again. I think this is an amazing reading, and even though the wounds may still be fresh, and you feel like you're nowhere near taking control of your life and getting to this golden palace. What is this golden palace that she's speaking of? But trust me, if you do the work and you use the resources that you have in your environment, you will get there. Trust me. I wish you the very, very best. Be blessed. Bye. Hi there, welcome to your reading. You chose card number 4, and yes, it's that time of the year where it's only at the beginning of the evening and I already have to turn on the flashlight so that you can actually see the cards. Now let's turn them over and see what this reading is about. And let's see, you see me struggling with this light. It is about willpower. Willpower is the theme of this reading. And let me see which oracle deck, which tarot deck I will be using in order to get more information about this willpower reading card. I am going to use the Green Witch Tarot deck. And let me draw some cards to see what the story is about this card. And the last card. Now, let's get into your reading and see what the messages are for you concerning willpower. I am using the arch reading because I always find this a very useful and versatile reading pattern, and it also gives very good, well-rounded insight in the situation. And well, let's start with the past and see what we have here. We find the Page of Wands. The Page of Wands is usually about messaging, short trips and travels, about bringing news or receiving news, sometimes news about younger people in your area or your family, or this is about someone who has a message or a proclamation to make. They believe in something, they stand for it, and they tout their opinion everywhere it will be heard. This is about expressing yourself, being opinionated, but also bringing messages, being kind of the message boy running from hither to fro to bring messages from one person to the other. And the present card, we find the Harvest card, and that is the card of completion. After 1 year of hard work, you can finally reap the harvest of your hard work. Things are coming to a conclusion. The lands will be barren for a couple of months during the winter. There's nothing to be done anymore. Everything that should have been done should have been done, and if things were not done, it is too late to turn back to them. Things are falling into place. There is some form of destiny about this. This is about completing a chapter in your life, completing a phase of your life. Maybe you are leaving behind your youthfulness, your childhood, and you're stepping into the next phase of your life. Let's see the underlying factors. We find the 10 of chalices. This is about happiness. and fulfillment in all ways possible. And usually it is depicted by a very happy family life with two very ecstatic parents and a beautiful child and a lot of peacefulness and abundance around. So this is slowly coming into view why this willpower card is here, because it does take willpower in order to go from leaving your childhood, leaving behind this time of your life where everything was presented to you, to a time of your life where you have to create your own happiness. And you have to do it by interacting with other people as well. Having a happy family creates a lot of work, a lot of investment in the right persons, in the right way of going about a relationship, not rushing in too fast, also not stringing people along, taking things seriously, working out problems, and making a stable base for a family where you can conceive and raise children that will be growing up in a balanced and abundant and happy and blissful environment. It takes willpower. It takes determination. You really have to set your mind to it, because otherwise it will not take off. It will not take flight. Your goal of the obstacle is the 10 of Atamis. Now the 10 of Atamis, this is a pretty dark card usually. In this deck it looks a little different, but the 10 of Atamis is usually a card of deep betrayal or sudden endings, irrevocable endings. You cannot go back to a previous situation because it no longer exists. It could be about backstabbing, about betrayal, but here it also implies some sacrifice. You can see these swines with their piglets standing there, not realizing that she has all these Atamis around her. She might use them as a barrier for safety, but she also might take one and sacrifice one of the piglets or one of the parents for the meal or the soup or whatever it is that she is cooking up there. It means that you may have to sacrifice one thing in order to gain something else. Let me give you a practical example. If you do want this family, the white picket fence and the boy and the girl and the happy dog and all of that, you may have to sacrifice your gaming weekends or your drinking weekends or things like that, because these two don't go well together. If you are day in, day out behind your computer playing World of Warcraft, well, you might meet people in game, but it rarely leads to this situation here. Because if you want to create something in the real world, you will have to put out action in the real world. And the 10 of Atamis is about ending something and maybe even sacrificing something. If you really want something, you may need to make sacrifices. But we get into this later in the reading when I draw some extra cards to see if we can get more clarification on what we see here so far. Now, if we go to your environment, we find the Ace of Chalices. Ooh, there is someone possibly in your environment that has a romantic interest in you, or you have a romantic interest in them. All of the sudden, feelings are everywhere and you don't know what's happening. Why am I blushing when I talk to this person? Why am I all of the sudden stuttering and feeling like my knees are going to give out? What's going on here? Maybe you are about to meet or you just have met your first love, the first person that you find that is moving you in ways that you didn't know were possible. And trust me, you don't have to be a teenager or a youngster to experience this. This can also happen later in life if you were on the wrong trail for most of your life and all of a sudden you find this one person that moves you in ways that you didn't know was possible. It can happen at any age. So but yeah, this seems like love is in the air. Something new is coming to the surface, coming to bloom. Unexpected feelings that you didn't know were there. And the advice card shows us exactly what you should be doing with those feelings. That may be an exciting and nerve-wracking moment as well, because this tells me that you should go and cross the inner boundaries that you have and dive into the deep waters and bring the cup with your feelings to this person. This is a romantic invitation. Whether you bring that invitation or someone else is bringing it to you, this is an invitation to explore the feelings that you have for each other. This is an invitation to explore and cross the boundaries of the safety of your world and go into this new adventure with each other and explore each other's feelings. Where does this river of passion, love, and unexpected feelings jumping out at you, where will it lead? Well, the outcome, oh my God. I was telling such a happy story and all of a sudden we see this. I wonder what this means. I definitely feel that there is a warning here that you might end up alone if you, oh my God, all of a sudden it clicks for me. Look, this card is usually the goal or the obstacles, and since it was the 10 of Atamis, I was assuming this would be the obstacle, but it might be the goal. It might be the goal. You might be you need to sacrifice something of your life, of yourself. You have to end something in order to not end up here. And there is someone in your life who has feelings for you, or you have feelings for them. And there is this romance beginning to blossom. There is this potential for a long and happy relationship. And maybe you've already set your first steps into this relationship. And maybe this partner, this person is setting you an ultimatum. It's me or fill in the blanks. Whatever this thing is that you are being called to give up, that you are being called to sacrifice. It could be gaming, could be drinking, could be drugs, could be partying, it could be a pet even. Sometimes people do that. I don't understand any of that, but sometimes people have trouble with pets even. But you know, I'm just joking a bit, but there is definitely, maybe you will recognize, maybe you will know what it is that you need to sacrifice, because this person possibly already told you. It's not going to happen unless you sacrifice. And you have to make this choice and sacrifice. And this reading gives you a little insight in where you will end up if you don't sacrifice. Because you might feel later on that you missed out on something. You might later see that person going on with someone else and starting a family with someone else. And then all of a sudden you might feel like this person sitting out in the cold, in the snow, where the warm fire is ways away in the distance, and you're just sitting there with your empty wallet all in the cold and lonely night. I'm dramatizing, of course, but You know where I'm going. This is how you can feel when you didn't put in what was needed to make that relationship work, and you see that person that deep down you know you had deep feelings for, and you see them with someone else, and you see them pregnant and getting children and buying this wonderful home, and you know you missed out. You know you didn't step up to the possibility. The possibility is there, and it seems to me that you might need to grow up quickly. Maybe you have had a very, I wouldn't say childish, but childlike manner. Maybe you didn't like responsibilities very much. You rather go out and play and have fun instead of doing your taxes and your housework. But yeah, you can't have both. They exclude each other. If you don't sacrifice this, you won't get that. And this reading is showing us that. I would like to go into one of my oracle decks to see if we can find more information on this and more guidance for you to help you out with this situation and how you can deal with it. Alright, I feel called to use the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. This is the Dutch version, so that's why you don't understand any of what's there. I will translate for you, and we will see what these cards can contribute to this reading to give you some more pointers, insight, knowledge, and wisdom about this situation that you are apparently in. This is about willpower. Willpower seems to me something that's also very much in play when it comes to letting go of addictions. You need to really want to let go of this addiction, because if you don't, it's not going to happen. You really have to put your mind to it. That is what this reading is about. You need to put your mind to something in order to get the desired results. If you're just YOLOing through your life, you'll end up old, lonely, and balding in the basement of your parents' house. With the first card that we see come out is chaos and conflict. I didn't see any hints towards that situation in the tarot cards, but let's see what the other cards say, because they may relate to each other. And it shows us a crossroads. And yes, that is the idea that came up in my mind, but I didn't see the cards. I didn't see any Two of Wands. I didn't see a Two of Swords. So I really didn't see the choice aspect coming up, but it's coming up in this reading, because there is definitely a choice to be made. You can go one direction or the other, but you can't go both. One excludes the other. So, and maybe you are in a chaotic mindset because of that, because you want both of them. And one thing is that you already have now, you know what it brings, and maybe it doesn't quite fulfill you, but it does the job. And the other thing is way into the future, and you have no idea how it's going to pan out, and you can't oversee which would be the better choice to make, and that could cause inner chaos and conflict about the choice that you would need to make. We see time to leave. There is something that you need to leave behind, something that needs to end. And of course, with this card as well, something, this youngster needs to grow up. We had the Harvest card, which is the World card in traditional decks. It's about completion. Something has had its time, and it's time to move on. It's time to leave that phase of your life, that situation behind. This is about receiving and giving gifts. let me see how this pans out with the other card. And this says, according to the rule book. And so there are some unwritten rules that you need to abide by, some rules in your in your family group, your society group, your tribe, so to speak. There are ways of how to deal with each other, and there is something about reciprocity. Are you not reciprocating the love that someone else has for you because you prioritize some other pleasure or ideal that you have now? And maybe this reading is trying to tell you that one is exclusive of the other. You can't have both. It's impossible to have both. This is about growing up into adulthood as well, getting past the period of play and into the period of taking responsibility for yourself, your life, your partner, your children, your pets, your job, your house. It's adulting. You may need to sacrifice your own childhood, your own childlike demeanor, like, oh man, I'm just going to do whatever I feel like doing today. But if you do not diligently work towards a goal, if you don't have the willpower to see things through to the end, you won't reach whatever you want to reach. You need to move forward. You need to start reciprocating. People have been giving to you, and it seems to me that your behavior has been a little irresponsible, and I know this may sound like a lot of criticism, and I don't like criticism myself, so I don't like to dole it out, but sometimes you need friction, you need pain, you need to be kind of pricked in order to realize, oh my God, you're right. I am not in my best behavior. I could do better if I set my mind to it. And I could reach these dreams. And this Ace of Chalices and the Ten of Chalices, they are opposing each other. This is the underlying circumstances, and this is your environment. Someone is offering you a long-term, deep, happy, serious and fulfilling relationship. And it seems like you're not quite stepping up to the plate, because the advice is to go for it, to move for it, to reciprocate this. But you feel conflicted about the choice. You may not be quite willing yet to leave behind this place where you didn't really have to work in order to get what you want, where things just kind of fell into your lap or something, which is very similar to childhood, where you don't have to provide for yourself because your parents make food every day and they clothe you and they give you a roof over your head and all these other things that you need. You don't have to provide for that yourself, but if you want a family, you will have to become the provider. You will have to grow up, you have to take up on yourself responsibilities, you will have to reciprocate this person that is offering their feelings to you, because they will set you an ultimatum, because if you do not reciprocate what they have to offer, they are going to go their own way. They will find someone else who will step up to the plate. It's a warning. You may have to kind of kick yourself in the butt here in order to advance in life and to reach these goals. They're there. You could choose for them, if you just set your mind to it and choose this direction, reciprocate these feelings, don't leave them hanging. They have been there for you, and now they are asking of you to take responsibility. And if you go by the unwritten social rules, you just cannot leave them hanging there. You would have to hold on to their tail and walk with them. Follow their lead, maybe even. Because they might leave you. I've seen two hints that they might not put up with this. They might leave you. There's 2 cards about social how do you say that? Social morals and reciprocation, about responsibility, about leaving behind this place where everything was taken care of for you and stepping up to the plate and kind of grow up, kick yourself in the butt and grow up and take this opportunity that is given to you for a good life. And all it takes is your willpower. Where is a will, there is a way. That's also a Dutch saying. I'm not quite sure how that translates in English. But if you really, really want something, you will find a way to make it happen. That's all you need to do. You find a way to make it happen. And it seems that you're not stepping up to it right now. And this other person, they are not going to be around forever, waiting for you to eventually grow up some point. Because they want to move on. They have goals. They want to achieve this happy family. And you will have to make a sacrifice. You will have to end your childhood. Maybe by your own doing. Maybe by your own willpower to step up to the plate and become an adult and start this relationship and build your own family. Serious talk in this relationship, this reading. It's about this serious relationship. It's also serious. Well, I do hope this is a wake-up call for you and you realize that things are not going to be this way all the time. This person is going to move on if you don't move on. So take the advice, because it seems that if you don't, you are going to miss out on something beautiful. So I do hope this reading helps you and maybe gives you just that little extra oomph that you need to take this next step. And I wish you the very, very best. Be blessed. Bye.